This particular day will go down in history as one of the most catastrophic and devastating days for Russian military aviation and strategic logistics. While the Russian Ministry of Defense tried to deliberately conceal the true scale of the disaster, Ukrainian drone forces delivered a massive and crushing blow directly to the military airfield in Taganrog, as well as to an entire network of the enemy's vital oil facilities. The legendary commander of the specialized drone forces, Robert Madyar Brovdi, has now officially revealed the first losses of the occupiers, which are deeply shocking for the Kremlin. The destruction of the scarce long-range Tu-142 aircraft and the elimination of the Iskander missile system right in the vicinity of Taganrog, which has become a newly established center for deep strikes by drone forces, managed to outsmart the entire Russian air defense system. So what happened to the tanker from Russia's Shadow Fleet? And why did multiple oil depots, stretching from the Krasnodar region all the way to the occupied city of Feodosia, suddenly turn into massive bonfires last night? My name is Evgeny Serov, this is the Glavred channel, and now we'll tell you everything. So let's get into the specific details of what happened. The night of May 30th was truly an exceptionally hot one. As officially reported by the esteemed commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces, Robert Madyar Brovdi, on his personal Telegram channel, the now famous aerial drones of the first separate center of Unmanned Systems Forces paid a very special courtesy visit to Taganrog in the Rostov region. And you know, the final result of this visit was absolutely phenomenal. The main strike directly hit the local military airfield. Local residents were suddenly woken up in the middle of the night by the very distinctive sound of incoming flying drones and a series of incredibly powerful explosions that thundered throughout the area of the port and the aviation plant. According to the report from Madyar himself, as a direct result of these precise strikes, 2 Russian Tu-142 aircraft were completely and utterly destroyed. Just so you can truly understand the seriousness of the situation, the Tu-142 is a heavy, long-range anti-submarine warfare aircraft. These aircraft are based on the Tupolev Tu-95 Bear strategic bomber. This is a highly specialized, exceptionally costly, and extremely rare strategic asset for the Russian military forces, specifically intended for long-range maritime strategic reconnaissance, as well as specialized submarine hunting missions. The devastating loss of 2 such aircraft in a single night is a staggering and colossal, irreparable blow to Russia's strategic defense capabilities. But the destruction of these scarce aircraft was not the only achievement of the Ukrainian drones. Right in the surrounding areas of the same Taganrog, unmanned systems successfully tracked down and then literally destroyed a Russian Iskander operational tactical missile system. Yes, this is the very same system from which the occupiers launch ground-to-ground ballistic missiles at peaceful Ukrainian cities every single day. Now, this launcher, along with its entire load of ammunition, has been turned into a heap of charred and twisted scrap metal. At the same time, Madyar intrigued everyone by stating that the actual results of the attack on the airfield and military facilities were not limited to just the Tu-142 and the Iskander. The list of destroyed enemy equipment and personnel is much more extensive, and SBS promises to reveal all the compelling details. But a bit later, after the comprehensive final verification of data from space reconnaissance. In total, according to the official report from the commander, during that long night the freedom-loving Ukrainian SBS bird successfully struck 23 different military targets, which were located deep within the enemy's operational territory far behind the front lines. This exceptional level of effectiveness became possible due to the coordinated and strategic actions of the newly established Deep Strike Center for Unmanned Systems Forces. Ukrainian forces have successfully established a unified analytical and command hub that meticulously identifies vulnerabilities in Russian defenses and subsequently deploys hundreds of drones there, simultaneously alongside the destruction of the airfield. Ukrainian drones also launched a comprehensive and relentless hunt for the fuel infrastructure belonging to the occupiers, without which absolutely no single plane can take off and not a single tank can move. The first unique target on this list was a massive crude oil tanker vessel from Russia's so-called shadow fleet, which helped the Kremlin bypass and evade various international trade sanctions and transport petroleum products. SBU drones struck it right on the water. The second target was the Kurganefta product oil depot in Taganrog itself, where a massive and intense fire broke out immediately after the strikes. The third was the famous marine oil terminal in occupied Feodosia, Crimea, which has repeatedly been targeted by Ukrainian forces in the past. For them, this is a frequently recurring situation. But that is certainly not all. Various monitoring channels have confirmed that just last night, the oil depot belonging to LLC Southern Oil Company, located in the city of Armavir in Krasnodar Krai, was also successfully hit. Local public channels report powerful explosions at the site. The extent of the destruction is currently being clarified. But the fact that the Russian oil industry is deteriorating and crumbling at the seams in several regions at once is completely and utterly undeniable. What is the main conclusion we can draw from this intense and fiery night of destruction? Ukraine has created a fundamentally new tool of strategic influence, a deep strike center for strategic combat systems. Now, our attacks are no longer just scattered occurrences. They have evolved into coordinated large-scale military operations. These strikes simultaneously target and destroy strategic aviation, ballistic missile systems, and the enemy's critical logistics networks across a vast territory. The Russian air defense system is finally becoming completely overwhelmed, and the Kremlin simply has nowhere left to hide its most valuable military assets. What do you think about this situation? Write your opinion in the comments and leave words of support for our Ukrainian heroes. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. My name is Yevhen Serov, and this is the Glavred channel. See you soon! The Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has once again hit a new low in analytics and made a sensational statement to the press. It turns out that, according to the Kremlin's master, the war is coming to an end and peace is already very near. And do you know what main argument this great strategist presented? The situation at the front. Putin claims in all seriousness that Russian troops are advancing in all directions every single day. But while the dictator dreams of an imminent victory, real facts from the front lines and data from independent analysts paint a catastrophic picture for Russia. The offensive in Donbass has completely stalled, turning into pitiful scraps on the map. Moreover, right now, while Putin was reading his triumphant reports, the Ukrainian armed forces launched a powerful counterattack in the Alexandrovsk direction, and Ukrainian drones have completely sealed off Russian logistics in the south. And you can find more details in our report. You are watching the Glavred channel. I'm your host, Yevgeny Serov. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's take a closer look at the dictator's quote. He says, "I made this statement not just for the sake of it, but based on an analysis of the situation on the battlefield. And here arises the main question: who is providing Putin with this very analysis?" As experts note, including analysts from Union, Putin has long become a hostage of his own system of total lies. The Russian military command is terrified of upsetting the leader with bad news, so all the reports that end up on his desk in fancy folders are embellished many times over. General Shoigu and Gerasimov have turned the destruction of 3 huts into the capture of a strategic fortified area and an advance of 100 meters into a breakthrough of the front. Putin genuinely believes that his army is winning, simply because he has not shown the actual satellite images with thousands of pieces of destroyed Russian equipment. This information vacuum plays into Ukraine's hands since the dictator makes strategic decisions based on completely fabricated data. And now, let's take off the rose-colored glasses from the Kremlin leadership and turn to the dry, stubborn mathematics. Russian propaganda shouts about Ukraine's exhaustion and a massive offensive in the Donbass. But statistics are stubborn things. From the very start of this year, the average rate of advance of this entire massive and much vaunted Russian war machine in the Donetsk region has been approximately 2.63 square kilometers per day. Take a moment to really think about these numbers. Despite having a colossal advantage in manpower, throwing thousands of mobilized soldiers into local assaults and burning through tons of artillery shells, the world's second largest army is advancing at a snail's pace. At this rate, it will take Russia decades and millions of its soldiers' corpses just to reach the administrative borders of the Donetsk region. What kind of Russian victory is Putin talking about? This isn't an offensive, it's a strategic dead end and the industrial-scale disposal of what's left of the Russian economy. And while Putin assures journalists that everything is going according to plan, Ukraine's defense forces are giving a clear and tough response directly on the battlefield. Just today, analysts confirmed a brilliant tactical operation by the Ukrainian armed forces. During a successful counterattack in the Oleksandrivka direction, Ukrainian defenders crushed the occupiers' positions and liberated 46 square kilometers of Ukrainian land in one go. This immediately nullifies weeks of the so-called Russian offensive, but that's not all the blows to Putin's ego. On the southern front, Ukrainian drones managed to do something the enemy never expected. Our UAVs have taken total fire control over the corridor to Crimea, which the Kremlin was so proud of. It is now effectively cut off. Any attempt to deliver ammunition, fuel or provisions ends with the precise destruction of Russian convoys. The occupiers in the south have found themselves on the verge of a supply collapse. This is the real analysis of the battlefield that Putin will never be shown.